Have you ever been in a situation where someone walks up to you, looks you in the eye, and says, "How is it going?" And in that moment, your brain just freezes. You know the words, you know the grammar, but you end up saying, "I am fine, thank you." And then silence. It is like the conversation just hit a brick wall.
I know that feeling so well, Sarah. It's like you have the key to the door, which is the greeting. But once you open the door, you realize you have no idea where to go next. You stand there in the doorway, and the other person is waiting for you to say something interesting, but nothing comes out. It's a major pain point for so many of our listeners who are at that intermediate level where they understand everything but feel stuck in their own responses.
Exactly. And that is exactly what we are going to fix today. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you are tired of feeling like a robot and you want to start talking about your real life in clear, natural English, you are in the right place. Before we dive into the secret formula that will change your conversations forever, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We release new lessons every week that help you move past textbook English and into real-world confidence. By subscribing, you are making a commitment to your progress, one topic at a time.
That is right. Today, we are focusing on breaking the habit of being a one-word responder. We are moving away from the "I am fine" trap and towards something we call the add one formula. Sarah, why do you think so many learners get stuck saying "I am fine"? It's technically correct English, right?
It is technically correct, but socially, it's a bit of a conversation killer. When you say "I am fine," you are giving the other person zero information. You are essentially closing the door. If I ask you how you are and you just say "fine," I have nothing to ask you about next. I have to do all the work to keep the conversation going. For our A2 and B1 learners, using "I am fine" is often a safety net because they're afraid that if they say more, they will make a grammar mistake. But the truth is, native speakers care much more about the connection than perfect grammar.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we want to build that connection, we need a better way to respond. Tell us about this add one formula. It sounds simple, but I suspect it is very powerful.
It is incredibly simple, which is why it works so well. The formula is broken into 3 small parts. First, you give a short answer. Second, you add one small detail or feeling from your day. Third, you return the question. So instead of just saying "fine," you say something like, "I'm doing well, but I'm a little tired because I stayed up late reading. How about you?"
I love that. Let's break that down for everyone listening. The first part is the answer. Instead of just "fine," what are some other options that sound more natural for someone in their 20s or 30s?
Great question. For the answer part, you can use phrases like "I'm doing well," "pretty good," "not bad," or even just "all right." Notice how I'm using contractions like "I am" instead of "I am." This immediately makes you sound more like a natural speaker and less like a textbook.
And then comes the magic part, the hook or the detail. This is where people get nervous. They think they need to say something exciting, like "I just won the lottery" or "I'm moving to Paris." But it doesn't have to be that big, does it?
Not at all. In fact, the best details are the small, everyday things. It could be about the weather, it could be about your lunch, or it could be about how much coffee you have had. For example, you could say, "I'm doing well. I just finished a really big project at work." Or, "I'm a bit tired. I didn't sleep very well last night." These tiny details give the other person a hook. If you tell me you didn't sleep well, I can ask why. If you tell me you finished a project, I can say congratulations. You are inviting them into your life.
And then the third part, returning the question. This is the part people often forget because they are so relieved they survived their own sentence. Why is it so important to ask the question back?
Because a conversation is like a game of catch. If I throw the ball to you and you just hold it, the game is over. By asking, "How about you?" or "How are things with you?" you are throwing the ball back. It shows that you are interested in them, not just talking about yourself. It takes the pressure off you because now it's their turn to talk.
Let's put this into practice with some real-life scenarios that our listeners deal with every day. Let's start with the workplace. Imagine it is Monday morning and a colleague walks into the break room while you are making coffee. They say, "Hey, how was your weekend?"
This is a classic one. A lot of learners would just say, "It was good," and then look at their coffee. Let's use the formula instead. I might say, "It was pretty relaxing. I actually spent most of Sunday just catching up on some sleep and watching movies. How was yours? Did you do anything fun?"
That felt so much more natural. You gave me two things I could talk about: sleep or movies. I could say, "Oh, what movies did you watch?" Or, "I wish I could have slept in too." It opens up so many paths. Now let's try a different workplace vibe. Maybe you are really busy. Someone asks, "How are you doing today?" In that case, I would say, "Hanging in there. It has been a bit of a hectic morning with all these emails, but I'm getting through it. How is your day looking? Are you busy too?" I love the phrase "hanging in there." It sounds so much more human than "I am fine." It shows a little bit of your reality. Let's talk about that phrase hectic. That is a great word for B1 learners to start using instead of just saying busy. Absolutely. Hectic implies that things are a bit crazy or disorganized, which is how many of us feel at work. Another good one is "I'm keeping busy." It sounds positive and professional. Let's try one more work scenario. What if you are having a great day? Everything is going well. I would say, "I'm doing great, actually. I finally got around to organizing my desk, so I feel a lot more productive now. What about you? How is your Tuesday going?" Perfect. You used the phrase "get around to." That is a fantastic phrasal verb. It means you finally did something you had been planning to do for a long time. These little phrases are what make you sound like a fluent speaker. It isn't about the big words, it is about the right words in the right place. I want to pause here for a second and talk to the listeners. Notice how Sarah and I are not using complicated grammar. We are using the present continuous, or the simple past. The power comes from the specific details. If you can talk about your desk, your coffee, or your sleep, you can talk to anyone. If you are finding these examples helpful, make sure to give this video a like. It really helps us reach more learners who are struggling with these same social situations. Now, let's move out of the office and into more casual social situations. Imagine you are walking down the street, or you are at a local shop and you run into someone you know. They say, "Oh hey, long time no see, how have you been?" This one can be tricky because it covers a longer period of time. Instead of saying, "I am fine," I might say, "I've been doing well, thanks. Life has been a bit of a whirlwind lately with work and travel, but things are finally settling down. How have you been? What's new in your world?" Whirlwind, what a great word. It paints a picture of being very busy and moving fast. And settling down is another great phrasal verb. It means things are becoming calm again. Now, what if you are talking to someone like a barista or a cashier, someone you don't know well but you want to be polite and natural? They ask, "How are you today?" For a stranger or a casual acquaintance, I keep it a bit shorter but still use the formula. I would say, "I'm doing well, thanks. Just enjoying the sunshine while it lasts. How is your shift going? Are you guys having a busy day?" That is a perfect example. You used the weather as your detail. The weather is the universal small talk topic for a reason. It is something you both share in that moment. It is safe, it is easy, and it is natural. If it is raining, you say, "I'm doing well, just trying to stay dry." If it is cold, you say, "I'm good, just trying to stay warm out there." It's a simple way to add that one extra piece of information. I think a lot of learners worry that if they talk about the weather or their coffee, they are being boring. But small talk isn't about being the most interesting person in the room. It's about social grease. It makes the interaction smooth. Exactly. It's about acknowledging the other person as a human being. Now, I want to address a very common problem. What if your day is actually bad? What if you are not fine? Do you have to lie and say you are doing great? That is such a good point. We don't want to be fake. If you are having a tough day, you can still use the add one formula without being too heavy or depressing. You could say, "Honestly, I have had better days. I'm just dealing with a bit of a headache, so I'm moving a little slow today. How are you doing? Hopefully your day is going better than mine." That is very natural. It is honest, but it isn't complaining. You are sharing a small piece of your reality, which actually builds trust. People appreciate honesty. And by ending with a little joke like, "Hopefully your day is going better than mine," you keep the mood light. So we have the formula: answer, detail, return. But there is another layer to this, Sarah, and that is the sound. If you say the formula but you sound like you are reading from a dictionary, it still won't feel natural. Can we talk about the physical side of speaking these phrases? Yes, let's do some vocal work. This is the part of the lesson where I want everyone listening to actually open their mouths. Don't just listen. Repeat after us. English is a physical skill. Your mouth muscles need to learn these shapes. Let's start with the most common contraction, I am.
In textbooks, they say "I am," but in real life, we almost always say "I'm." It is a very short sound. The M sound is the most important part. Let's practice that. Sarah, say it slowly, then at normal speed. I'm. Now let's add the answer. I'm doing well. Notice how the G at the end of doing is often very soft or even disappears. I'm doing well. Let's try that together. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Now let's add the link to the next part. I'm doing well, but that word but is a great bridge. It tells the listener that a detail is coming. Now let's look at the return question. How about you? In natural speech, we don't say each word separately. We link them. How about you? It sounds like one long word. The T at the end of about often disappears or turns into a very light sound. How about you? Let's practice the whole flow. I will say the textbook version, and Sarah, you say the natural version. Then the listeners can repeat after you. Textbook, I am doing well. How about you? Natural, I'm doing well. How about you? Let's do it again. Listen to that rhythm. It is like a heartbeat. I'm doing well. How about you? Now let's try it with a detail. I'm doing well, just a bit tired. How about you? Notice how the word just is also very short. We don't say just, we say just. It is a filler word that softens the sentence. Let's try a workplace one. I'm keeping busy. How about you? I'm keeping busy. How about you? Good. Now let's look at the phrase, how's it going? This is one of the most common greetings, and it is also one of the most difficult to say perfectly because of the linking. It is not how is it going, it is how's it going. That Z sound is the key. The S in how's links to the I in it. How's it? How's it going? Let's practice that 3 times. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? If someone says that to you, your response should have the same energy. Not bad, you? Not bad, you? See how short that is. You don't even need the how about part if you are in a rush. Just not bad, you? I want to talk about the intonation here. English is a musical language. When we ask the return question, our voice usually goes up at the end. How about you? It sounds like an invitation. If your voice stays flat, it can sound like you are bored. That is a great tip. Think of it like a curve. I'm doing well, but I'm a bit tired. How about you? The voice rises on the word you. Let's try that together. How about you? How about you? I can really feel the difference when I lift my voice. It feels more friendly. It really does. Now let's do a bit of a challenge for our listeners. We are going to give you a scenario and we want you to say your response out loud. Don't worry about being perfect. Just try to use the formula, answer, detail, return. Okay, here is scenario number 1. You are at the gym. You see someone you recognize from last week. They say, hey, how's your workout going? What do you say? Use the formula. I'll give you a second to think. Okay, here is what I would say. Not bad. I'm struggling a bit with these weights today, though. How about you? Are you having a good session? That was great. You had the answer, not bad, the detail, struggling with the weights, and the return. How about you? Let's try scenario number 2. You are at a friend's house for dinner. The host asks, how has your week been? What do you say? Think about your real week. Give an answer, one detail, and return the question. I would say, it has been pretty good. I finally finished that book I was telling you about. How was your week? Was work okay? I love that. It feels so personal and warm. Scenario number 3. This one is for the office again. You are in the elevator with your boss. They say, good morning. How are you today? This one needs to be professional, but still natural. I would say, good morning. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm really looking forward to the presentation this afternoon. How are you doing? Perfect. You mentioned something relevant to the boss, the presentation. That shows you are engaged and prepared. It is so much better than just saying, I am fine. We have covered a lot of ground today. We talked about why I am fine is a trap. We learned the add one formula, answer, detail, return. We practiced the sounds of contractions and linking. And we looked at scenarios from the gym to the office. It might feel like a lot to remember, but here is the secret. You only need to get good at 1 or 2 variations. You don't need to memorize 100 different details. If you have 2 or 3 go-to details about your life right now, you can use them all week. If you are busy with a project, that is your detail for the whole week. If the weather is hot, that is your detail for everyone you meet. That is such a practical way to look at it. You don't have to be a new person every time you speak. You just have to be a more detailed version of yourself. I want to encourage everyone listening to take this one step further. Speaking English is about building a habit.
Exactly. You can't just watch one video and expect to be fluent. You have to put it into your mouth. You have to say it until it feels easy. That is why we do these shadowing exercises. So here is your challenge for today. In the comments below, I want you to answer the question, how is your day going?
but you must use the add one formula. Give us an answer, one tiny detail about what you are doing or how you are feeling, and then return the question to us. Mark and I will be reading those comments and replying to as many as we can. It is a safe place to practice before you try it in the real world.
And if you found this breakdown of the Add One formula helpful, please share this video with one friend who is also learning English. Sometimes having a study partner to practice these small talk scenarios with makes all the difference. You can call each other and just practice the first 60 seconds of a conversation.
That is a fantastic idea. Small talk is the foundation of everything else. If you can master the first minute of a conversation, your confidence will skyrocket for the rest of the talk. You will feel like you belong in the conversation, not like you are just an observer.
Before we go, Sarah, do you have any final words of encouragement for our learners who might still be feeling a little bit nervous about trying this?
I do. My biggest piece of advice is to remember that native speakers are not judging your grammar. They are looking for a connection. When you add a detail, you are giving them a gift. You are giving them something to talk about. Even if you use the wrong tense or you forget a word, the fact that you shared a piece of your life is what they will remember. They will think, oh, that person was really nice to talk to. They won't think, oh, they used the present simple instead of the present perfect.
That is so true. We are all just humans trying to connect. The Add One formula is just a tool to help you make those connections more easily. It takes the guesswork out of social interactions.
Well said, Mark. I think we are ready to wrap things up. Everyone, thank you so much for spending your study time with us today. Whether you are on the bus, on a walk, or sitting at your desk, we are proud of the progress you are making. One topic at a time, you are building the life you want in English.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. We will be diving into another everyday topic to help you talk about your real life with confidence. We have some great stuff planned for you.
Now, go out there and try the Add One formula today. Even if it is just with yourself in the mirror or with your pet, get those words out of your head and into your mouth. You've got this.
We will see you in the next one. Keep talking, keep practicing, and keep being you.
Happy practicing, everyone. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Now, as we finish, I just want to emphasize one more thing about the return part of our formula. Sometimes learners worry that asking a question back is being too pushy or nosy, but in English culture, especially in the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia, it is actually seen as polite. It shows that you are a balanced conversationalist. If you only talk about yourself, even with great details, you might seem a little self-centered. But when you ask, how about you, you are showing that you value the other person's experience.
That is a very important cultural nuance. It is not just about the words, it's about the social balance. And you know, Sarah, another thing I've noticed is that the return doesn't always have to be, how about you? You can make it more specific if you know something about the person. For example, if you know they were on vacation, you could say, I'm doing well, just getting back into the swing of things. How was your trip to Italy?
Oh, that is a pro-level tip. Using a specific question is like the gold standard of small talk. It shows you were listening in the past. But for our A2 and B1 learners, let's start with the basics. Master how about you or how are things with you first. Once those are automatic, then you can start adding those specific details.
I agree. Start simple, build the habit, and then add the complexity. It's like building a house. You need the foundation first, and this formula is your foundation. I am really looking forward to seeing those comments. I want to see what kind of details our community shares.
Me too. It's always so interesting to hear about people's real lives all over the world. It reminds us that no matter where we are all dealing with the same things. Being tired, enjoying the sun, working hard, and looking forward to the weekend.
Absolutely. All right, I think we have truly covered it all now. Listeners, it is your turn. We have given you the tools, now you go use them. We believe in you. You are not stuck. You are just in transition. Move away from I am fine and move toward your real English life.
You can do it. See you in the comments and see you in the next video.
Take care, everyone. Talk to you soon.
One last thing, Mark. I just realized we didn't mention the pace. Sometimes when people are nervous, they speak very fast. I want to remind everyone to breathe. It is okay to take a second to think before you add your detail. A small pause is natural. It shows you are actually thinking about the answer, not just reciting a script.
That is a great final thought. Silence is not your enemy. A 1-second pause before you say, actually, I am a bit excited because that pause actually builds anticipation. It makes what you say next seem more important. So don't rush. Take your time. English speakers pause all the time.
Exactly. We use words like well, or let's see, or actually to give ourselves time. These are called fillers, and they are your best friends when you need a moment to remember your detail. So don't be afraid to use them.
Okay, now we are really done. Go have some great conversations, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You know, Mark, I was just thinking about the workplace scenario again. We talked about being busy, but what about when you are having a boring day? A lot of people feel like they can't say that.
That is interesting. I think you can definitely say that in a professional way. You could say, I'm doing all right, just working through some routine tasks today. It has been a bit of a slow morning. How about you? Is your day more exciting than mine?
I love that. It is professional, but very relatable. It shows that you are being productive, even if the work isn't thrilling. It is another great example of how the add one formula can be adapted to any situation. It's all about how you frame it.
Framing is everything. It's about taking the reality of your life and putting it into words that connect with others. Whether you're busy, bored, excited, or tired, there is an English sentence for that. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to find those sentences in the moment.
I think that is the perfect note to end on. Real life isn't always a highlight reel. Sometimes it is just routine, and that's perfectly okay to talk about. In fact, that's what most small talk is made of.
Exactly. All right, let's let our listeners get to their practice. I can't wait to see the add one formula in action.
Me too. Remember, progress is made one conversation at a time. Keep going.
See you soon.
Bye.
I actually had one more thought, Sarah, about the returning the question part. Sometimes people ask, how are you, as they are walking past you. They don't actually stop to wait for an answer. What do you do then?
Ah, the drive-by greeting. In that case, the formula has to be very fast. You just say, good, thanks, you, as you keep walking. You don't need the detail then, because there is no time. The detail is for when you are standing still, like in an elevator or at a desk.
That is a very important distinction. Context is everything. If the person is moving, you move with them. If they are standing, you stand with them.
Precisely. Small talk is also about body language and timing. But for today, focus on the words. The rest will come with experience.
Totally agree. Okay, for real this time, let's wrap it up.
Agreed. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Mark, I was just looking at the clock and realized we have so much more we could say about the return question. We said, how about you? But what about and yourself, or what's new with you?
Those are great variations. And yourself is a bit more formal, maybe for a meeting or a new client. What's new with you is much more casual, perfect for a friend you haven't seen in a few days.
Exactly. It is good to have a few different versions in your pocket. If you always say, how about you, it might start to feel a bit repetitive to you. Switching it up keeps it fresh.
And it keeps your brain active. It forces you to choose the right level of formality for the situation. That is a great B1 level skill to practice.
Definitely. Choosing the right words for the right person is a big step towards fluency. But again, for our listeners who are just starting with this, how about you is a perfect universal choice. You can never go wrong with it.
It is the safe, reliable option, like a good pair of jeans. It works everywhere.
I love that analogy. Okay, I think we have really given them everything they need to succeed today. The formula, the sounds, the variations, and the encouragement.
Now it is up to them. I have full confidence that our listeners are going to start having much better conversations starting today.
I agree. It's all about taking that first small step, one detail at a time.
All right, let's finally let them go and get to work.
Let's do it. Goodbye, everyone, for the last time today.
Goodbye. See you in the next one.
Happy speaking.